You never hear me use the word I, because I, technically in an interview, is irrelevant. It only
That is the old school, Larry.
It only
That
is,
is the old school.
It only is ego fulfilling. There's no reason to say I. I've got Charlie Rangel on tonight. What do I have to say I? I don't have to say I.
What are you going to ask him?
Unless I have a point to make.
Right.
I might have a point to make with Charlie Rangel because he goes back a long way with my family. So I might make that point concerning my brother and him and what happened to Charlie Rangel, that's the best thing to ask Charlie Rangel. What happened?
Just that.
Yeah, then he's got to tell me what happened from his perspective. Because it happened to him, didn't happen to me. How does he feel about what happened? How did he let this happen? I don't know the answer, right? I have to listen.
Listening is important.
Yeah. Because then you learn things by there's a motto. I don't know who wrote this first, but I adopt this as my motto. And if you think about this, students, think about this. I never learned anything when I was talking.
I think people lose sight of that fact.
And so if you watch a lot of television hosts today and radio hosts, they're talking more than the guests.
The best interviews and the best answers come from follow-up questions often.
Of course. And when you get the I interview, you know, they get like, here's an example. All right, let's say Frank Sesno has written a book. My career as a dean. Okay? No, let's say, what are you laughing? You putting yourself down?
No,
Frank Sesno's written
it might
a book.
come as a shock to the dean, though.
Or you may learn by 4 o'clock that you ain't. Okay, all right. Frank Sesno, my life as a dean, and this is today's broadcast host, the ego host.
Okay.
The self-involved host.
Okay.
Good evening. Tonight's guest is Frank Sesno, author of My Life as a Dean. I never was a dean, Frank. I always wanted to be a dean. I thought about being a dean, but you've written My Life as a Dean. I've skimmed through it a little, and I'd have to say that when I go through schools, I often wondered what a dean does. I'm sure that you answer that. What does dean mean? Now you try to answer.
Being a dean means...
Oh, see, you're beginning with the word being. Now, being is a sense of self. Now, what we learn from that is nothing. But we learn that the host is self-involved. It's just, now, by the way...
The other thing you don't do, Larry, is another part of self-involvement and the host getting... You don't call people names. You don't say, oh, you're stupid, or you're a jerk.
Oh, that I would never do.
But
you know, the dumbest way, you want to know the dumbest way to begin an interview? Is that way. Or, let's say, no. Let's say you're interviewing Osama bin Laden, right? He'd be the #1 get in the world.
That would be a big interview,
okay,
yes.
All right. Worst first question. Why did you plan the bombing of that building?
What would your first question...
That's the worst first question.
What would your first question be to Osama bin Laden?
Why did you leave the riches of Saudi Arabia from one of the richest families to live in the hills? Now, that takes, he knows I'm interested in him. I made no objective, I'm objective. I sincerely believe he's going to have to want to talk about why he would leave a life of privilege for this life that he's chosen. Now, gradually we get to the other things.
It's on your list.
I've got to take him into me, right? The worst way is to be argumentative. Now, it may be thrilling television. He may scream back, but you don't learn anything. And what we want to do with a guest is learn about the guest.